Oh, hello, hello, hello. It's May the 4th, you guys. May the 4th be with
Ooh,
you, Josh and Steve.
may
Yes,
the fourth
may
be
it
with
be
you.
with you. So,
And
I
also
noticed
with
your
you.
shirt, Steve.
It's an
thank you,
epic
Josh.
shirt.
Yeah.
Had to wear a Star Wars shirt on Star Wars Day since we conveniently, it just, so happened that our streaming Wednesday happened to fall on May the 4th, which is fitting because we're all huge nerds. So,
And I
Absolutely.
anyways,
basically just visited Star Wars land. So I feel like a special
exactly.
connection with the day now. Like, I basically just visited
And,
Star
sorry. I was trying to pull
There's
up
an echo
the
in the house.
the chat on YouTube, but
All
it's out
right.
now.
Hello, everybody out there. Hello. Let us know where
But
you're
yeah, you
watching
can talk
from.
about it now.
I had such an amazing time, and I'm really bummed that I got sick and we couldn't talk about it last week, but it is like awe inspiring. Like when you get there, if you're a fan, like it's like being in the movie. That goes for Star Wars and Harry Potter. And we got to go to the cantina. We figured out a
Ah,
way. We
Oh, nice. I'm so
So
jealous.
here's a tip for everybody. If you're looking for reservations, don't look for more than one person. Just do a reservation for one person and each person make a reservation for one because then you'll get in. And then we just
hmm.
went up to the door guy and was like, "Hey, like my reservation's for like 3:30 and like my husband's is for like 2. Can we like get together?" And they were like, "Yeah, people do it all the time." And we
Ah,
Wow.
damn.
stood
I
at the
wish I
bar.
knew that hack.
Dude, Jordan figured it out. It wasn't like anything we researched. I was just like, this is the thing that I want to do because you didn't get to do it.
Oh, okay. So it
I
was out
was
of
like,
spite.
yeah, man, I need the street cred. I feel like I have to work extra hard to be cool. And, I was like, this, you can't go there without doing it. It's just like, it's so elusive and it's kind of like hidden. Like you cannot see inside of it. So
Hmm.
if you get to go in, like a lot of things I will say there and in Harry Potter, the wizarding world over in Universal, if you don't know where it's at, like you're not going to find it. It's
Oh yeah.
stuff is kind of like hidden on purpose. Um and it was great. I mean, the Disney experience was amazing. Well, we did have to wait 2 hours for the Rise of the Resistance ride, and it broke
But you
down
did it.
while we were in line.
Wait,
Ah,
really?
Dude, yes. And everyone was like just sitting there, like us and hundreds of other like sweaty, angry families. But we went first thing in the morning. So we went at like 8 a.m. or whenever the park's open. And then we went straight to that line. So we were like fresh faced to be standing in a 2 hour line. We were like, we know we're going to have to do this. So everybody was just kind of like dealing with it. Um, it
Oh, so
literally
it just broke down while you were in the
It
line,
broke
but
down
you
while
got
we
to
were
go
in
on it,
line, but we
right?
got to go on it. Yes.
mm.
Okay.
It
Okay.
delayed us like an extra 20 or 30 minutes though. But they were like, we appreciate your patience. And like the whole time, our friends were joking that like one of the actors just had to poop. They were like, somebody has to poop.
True.
That's all. That's all it is. Um,
We thought it might have broken down when we were in line. We did the same thing. We did it. Well, we actually did it second. We did the old Star Wars ride first, then went to
mhm.
that. But yeah, we all of a sudden we were waiting. I think we were about an hour into the line, and then we noticed there was nobody behind us. Like the lines that were where we just came from were all empty, and there was no more people going in the line. We're like, did they
That's not a
close
good
this ride
sign.
off? Like,
Hmm.
but what we found out is they were just rearranging the line. So they were like
Oh, yeah.
letting us, all of us, get through this section so that they could close it off, that section of the line, because they're like, we didn't need that extra part anymore.
Yeah.
So they were just rerouting the line, and they're like, don't worry,
I can't
we
tell
aren't going to
you
wait
how
any
many
longer.
lines I got in. For those of you just tuning in and watching, we're recapping my Orlando visit, and in honor of May the 4th be with you, May the 4th Star Wars Day, kind of recapping my experience at Star Wars Galaxy Edge. in Orlando, and Steve just went there too, and Josh is going there soon. So that's what we're talking
Yes.
about. I can't tell you how many lines I went in that, like, when I got in it, it was like a mile long. And then by the time I got to the ride, that line was like half as long. It's just people swarm the ride. And then, you know, the wait times, like you've got the app, you're like, okay, it's only 90 minutes right now, or it's only 60 minutes right now. Let's all go in line. And then everyone goes in line. And then all of a sudden it's a 2-hour wait. And you're just like, well, I'm here. So,
Yeah, the app is helpful because we kind of waited on the back end of Universal when we went up to that park till the end of the day. And when we did that, because when we first got to the park, Men in Black was like over an hour, Simpsons was over an hour, but we did everything else and saved that to last because it was the very back of the park.
you
And
like
so
the Men in Black ride?
We just went on all of them
Oh,
because you could
okay.
do all of them in one day. And so by the time we
Every
went,
single
it was like,
ride? No,
Yeah.
there's no way. You
It
want
was,
every single ride.
every ride that you could ride on Universal. That wasn't like a kiddie. Well, no, we did Universal 2 days, Disney 1
Yeah.
day.
That's exactly what we did. But like, I couldn't imagine.
I mean,
like,
we didn't go on the kiddie rides, and
I
we
mean,
only did one roller coaster.
the
'cause-
Rip. Did you do the Rip Rock and Roller Coaster?
No.
You didn't do that
I've
one?
done it before, but no, we didn't. A is not a fan of roller coasters.
Okay.
Well, that's what I found out after we went on the Raptor.
Oh,
the
Velocicoaster? Dude,
I can't
Oh
wait
my
to do
God.
that.
It is so amazing. Josh, we rode in the front row too.
Ah.
Front
Oh,
row.
man.
We waited. It was not, we had to wait for like maybe 2 to go by, and we got the front row. Well, I mean, the line was ridiculous for the Velocicoaster, but it was a really fun line. Like, there's like this video but man, it was long as hell. It was like a 90-minute line. We were like freaking over it, but that ride was like way worth it. It was
All
so
right.
cool. And being in the front row, like, if I could handle it, because I don't know if you guys, like, Jordan likes to tease me about going on the Superman ride in the front row, because I was like, I like roller coasters. That ride, like, rocked me to my core, and I was like, I guess I don't like roller coasters. I don't know. It was like, it's way taller than any of these other rides. Like,
Yeah.
the Rip and Rocket or Rock and Roller Coaster or whatever was, and then
That's
anything
pretty
in Busch
high.
Gardens, I feel like everything is pretty, like, they're pretty, to me, pretty high, pretty awesome. There's twists, they go upside down, there's loop. I think they're awesome rides, but like Superman, that's another level. Like, I don't know. I'll never ride that ride again.
That's at
Yeah,
Six Flags, right?
Did you do Hagrid's thing?
Yes.
Did you sit in the sidecar or on the bike?
I was in the sidecar, and we tried to save time by going the single rider line, so I got stuck with like some stranger, but it was fine because we saved we got to walk past a lot of people in the line. But then when we got up to the front, because it's only a 2-seater, there was a lot of couples going that had waited in line. So I was like, I feel like we still waited 2 hours to ride the ride. We just waited longer once we got to the front of the line.
The joke the whole weekend was like, and we were kind of like, there was these couple girls behind us, middle-aged women, and they were fun. They were like all about Harry Potter, but we were all joking because it's like every time you see like a doorway, you get like excited because you think but then you look and it's like another line, like another section. It's
they
always
do
like
that
another
shit on
section.
purpose. I think they do it on purpose because that's what everyone was doing. Like, oh, I think we're getting to the end, and then it's like more queue. Like,
Yeah, and you're
Like through the
"Ah, son of
castle
a
and
bitch."
stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Well,
And
that
that Rise
one,
of Skywalker one had a bunch of fake outs, like
that I will say that the Escape, I think it was Escape from Hogwarts, the one when you're inside Hogwarts Castle.
Mhm.
Okay, so the Hagrid's motorbike one is brand new. So in the morning, everybody got in that line. So we went at the park open, and it was like everyone was in that line and their mother, and nobody was in line for the Harry Potter thing. It was like a 5-minute wait. We literally walked right onto that ride. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
And like
And that's
later,
one of my favorites because it's kind of like you move around, but it's 3D too. You know,
I
it's
got
pretty cool.
motion sick completely. Dude, let's talk about that ride. Have you
You
ridden it,
almost
Josh?
get beat up.
Yes, I
Yeah,
have.
you almost get beat up by the Whomping Willow.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Whomping Willow is like actually in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like half of it's 3D, but then there's also stuff.
Bro, I don't know what's going on. I'm having like PTSD thinking about it. Like me and Jordan's sister, we were both like, we got off the ride and we were just like,
so
like I thought I was gonna vomit. Honestly, it made me totally motion sick. It's crazy.
So that's how it made my sister, but it didn't, and my dad, but it didn't affect me that way at all.
So I think it affects. That makes me feel better that like I'm not the only one. There was at a point, and then it brings you like upside down, and you're like, there's all this 3D shit happening, and it was just like, okay. And I was just like closing my eyes, like, oh my god, please let this ride be over. But
I don't know.
yeah.
I like to. It's one of my favorite rides because the Spider-Man was one of my favorites, still is. But the Spider-Man's mostly 3D, and then they got the sets that you're driving through. Like, I like that the Harry Potter one, it's got the 3D screens, but it still has the cool animatronic things like the Whomping Willow and the spiders. So you like come out of the 3D for a second and you get to see all the sets. And I just think the animatronics are cool. And I like the fact that you're kind of hanging and you can go upside down, whereas the Spider-Man one, you're just kind of in a car thing that kind of moves around.
Yeah.
I didn't ride that one. We didn't do like Marvel stuff. We like really wanted to spend most of the time with Harry Potter. So, because we got our wand and we did all the like magic that you can do with the wand. And
did you get somebody's wand or did you get one of like the random ones?
Like the wand pick you thing.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Because the line to do that was like ridiculous. We just bought one. We just bought Voldemort's wand because it looked the coolest.
Oh, okay.
And like I was seeing all these little kids like doing all the things and I was like, I want to do that. Like, dude, I can't. It was all too mind-blowing. Like walking into Diagon Alley, I was just like, I'm on a movie set right now. This is absolutely incredible. It was so beautiful, so detailed, so real. Like it just puts you in the world. And we had done the marathon getting ready. So I was just like in it with Harry Potter shit. And then you get to do the magic shit. And like, we're the only adults doing it. Like everyone else has a kid and their kid is standing there with the wand. And I'm just like waiting my turn. Like, I mean,
oh yeah, because you can make like on the street, you can make like that feather float and stuff if you wave it in front of that.
If
like
you do like the right things.
Yeah.
There's the toilet flush thing, or
oh yeah.
It's not a toilet, it's like a plant or something, and you wave and it goes and fills up. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't think I did either of those, so I now have to go back to Universal because there's more than I think. They give you a little map that shows you what they are and where to find them, but I feel like there's more. I feel like there's probably secret ones that they don't advertise.
Yeah,
probably. You have to find the little medallion.
I'm talking about, it was like in a store window right in front of where the dragon like growls and blows the fire.
Yeah, there's like a lot of like eyeballs. There's an owl. There was like 20 of them. I mean, there's a bunch of them. And then we had our little map, but so that made it like extra fun. And I just could hang out there all day. I just want to live there. It's so cool. And we did end up doing single rider line for the Escape from Gringotts ride and walked on in like 10 minutes. So single rider line is the way to go. Because otherwise that one was like an hour and 20-minute wait, but we walked right on it. So I was like, yay.
You two are definitely married because I was like, because we were looking at the single rider line and I was like, if I were here with just like me and my guy friends, we would totally be doing that. Like actually Ricky and Tommy went for like Ricky's bachelor party years ago, and yeah, we just single rider line all day because we don't care about sitting next to get each
Yeah.
other. But if you're with like a date or a significant other, it's like I want to experience the ride with you, or so it's like I don't want to like go in the single
We are
rider
just
line and
like,
be
I don't
next to
want to
Joe
wait.
Schmo.
If it's
Yeah, you're
shorter,
married.
I
You're
don't
like,
Yeah,
care.
I've
yeah.
sat next to you like for 8 years
Plus,
now. Or...
I just don't want to wait in the fucking line because that's like even less time that we get to actually spend together enjoying shit. It's like you're just in the line forever and ever with a bunch of sweaty people. Um Oh my god, I just want to go back. I can't believe how much
Yeah.
fun we had. Like I wouldn't have called myself like a Disney person, but now that they have like we actually also I could have spent a whole day at just Epcot. Have you been so you were just at Disney. Did you partake in any alcoholic beverages when you were at Disney?
No. Well, like when I went at like dinner, but they were just at the restaurants on like City Walk. We only did the Hollywood Studios. We didn't do any of the other parks.
Oh.
And we literally only did Star Wars. The Star Wars took up our whole day. I mean, there's nothing really at Hollywood Studios
Honestly, no.
worth
It's
seeing, in my
Oh.
opinion, outside of Star Wars.
not
I'm-
really. That's
It's like
basically
Toy Story, like Muppets, like it's a lot of kiddie stuff, and then there's like shows. But,
yeah.
So I am kind of bummed because we're only going for one day and we're only doing Hollywood Studios because I never got to see like the Star Wars was still under construction the last time I was there.
Yeah.
mhm.
Dude, you're
So
not
that was the main thing.
ready. You're not
Yeah.
ready.
I know. I can't wait. But the thing is that Epcot is going to be opening the Guardians ride when we're there.
Oh
Like
shit.
it opens at like the end of May.
Why can't you just
And I'm like,
change your ticket? Just upgrade to Park Hopper. That's all you
I
need to do.
know.
Just upgrade it.
I need to talk to like my
Talk to
sister.
your-
to
yeah,
see-
whoever you're
figure it out.
going
I want
with-
to know. I didn't even know they were making a Guardians ride.
I just saw like an advertisement for it on TV and it's like
Yeah.
like the like sometime in May it's opening. I mean, I wonder, I could imagine that line's going to be like ridiculous if
For
it's just
months, yeah.
opening. Yeah. But I don't know. It'd be pretty cool. Like
But
But
when
I'm
are
pretty sure
you-
it's at
it's like
Epcot.
Epcot doesn't have a ton of rides. It's more about the countries. So
Yeah, it's just more about the vibe.
so it's
Yeah.
gonna be extra long because there's
It's the
only so
only
many
ride.
rides.
I know.
Now, is that gonna be in place of that crash dummy car thing?
I
or
think so. The test
Okay,
track thing.
probably.
test track
Actually,
thing?
Must be.
Actually, no. I don't know. There was a huge area that was like blocked off when we were at Epcot, and then there was obviously like they were advertising that was opening soon. But I kind of feel like the test track thing was still. I think it is taking the place of something, but something else.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But Jordan has never been to Epcot, so he really wanted to go. And I was just like, I don't know. Like, there's no rides. It's like, whatever. And then we went there and I was like, this is awesome. Like, I feel like when you're older, that's the vibe. Like, you just want to hang out and see the cool stuff. And it was during the flower show. So there was actually so much cool stuff to look at. Like, topiaries that looked like characters and like special gardens. And like, there was these bonsai trees in the China, like, portion of it, and they were all like, some of them were like 80 something year old bonsai trees. It was like really cool. But the thing is, I felt like, okay, so at Galaxy's Edge, we went to the cantina and we were like, you only get 45 minutes, but you can drink however much you want. So, and the drinks are super fancy. I have to send you guys pictures of like, and they're all themed, and like, and the people, the bartenders are like in character. Like, they treat you like a traveler. They act like you're from Earth. I don't know, what's that like? It's so fun. Like, if you
That's
get like a
awesome.
good person, they'll like kind of play with you and like joke with you. And we got like a little snacky. They have like little snacks and like mostly just like cocktails, but they also have non-alcoholic, but they're all like funky and futuristic looking. Mine had like dry ice and it was bubbling and like steaming and sparkles. And we pounded like 3 drinks within 45 minutes, cocktails. Normally that would be enough to have me feeling pretty loose. And I was like not even barely buzzed. And I was like, something's up, right? Because earlier we went to Star Wars and we got the blue milk. Did you get the blue milk when you were there?
Yeah.
It tastes amazing. But we were like, let's get the alcoholic ones because that's our energy. And I was like, I don't think they gave us the alcoholic ones. Like, you couldn't taste it. Mine was supposed to have like tequila in it, you know? And I was like, I don't taste tequila in this at all. But we definitely like.
I feel like Disney, since it's Disney, they probably make super weak drinks because they don't want a bunch of drunk parents around kids. You
It
know?
makes
That's
sense,
probably
but
true.
like
Yeah.
I couldn't find evidence of it anywhere on the internet. And then I went to basically Epcot and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to drink beer now. So we had all those drinks at Cantina, the blue milk, like we had like 4 mixed drinks at this point. That would be literally enough to have me like drunk. I was not even like buzzed at all. Like nothing. I felt completely sober. We go to Epcot and I'm like, I'm just going to drink beer because they can't fuck with that, right? They can't water this down. And I probably had 2 or 3, and I'm like, I'm not feeling anything because the day before we went to Universal and we were at Moe's drinking a Duff beer because you have to. And like after 1 beer, I was like, you know, I definitely felt like I had just drank a beer, right? Like you can notice. I was like, this is weird. Like Disney's fucked up. Like something's wrong. I don't know.
Even their beer, yeah.
I'm like, I was trying to find like anywhere online about like the alcohol content of their beer because they could have it specially brewed to have like a lower alcohol content, but you can't find it anywhere. And I'm like, those slick mothers.
I mean, they probably have that under wraps if they're actually doing that.
But like,
because you're paying full price.
You're paying so much to have a beer there too. Like every time we ordered a drink.
Yeah.
You know, and even I got like I think I got like a Coors Light or something, and I'm like, and it was in a can, like in an aluminum bottle, and I was like, let me look at this. And usually on cans of beer, there's like 3.5, 4.0 alcohol content, right? Or 5.0, whatever it may be. And I couldn't even find that on the can. So I was like, they must have it specially made for them, you know, and I don't know. And it's like a racket. It's not like I need to get drunk or something at Disney, but I was like, I'm paying all this money and it's like, I'm just drinking a soda, you know, like, and you're charging me like so much more. I'm just in search of buzz. That was literally our motto for the day. We're like in search of buzz at Disney. Like, it's just not happening. We just wanted to feel a little happy and it just never happened.
You know, like how McDonald's has their own Coke syrup like recipe. I bet you Disney's got
their
with
own
all the liquor companies. They got some kind of deal.
Oh yeah.
Because when we were at Universal, like I said, it was easy. You were feeling it after like 1 or 2 beers. I had 2 of those Duff beers and I was like, woo, all right, I'm all set. You know, but of course you don't want to get sloshed because you're riding roller coasters and shit. So that was about it until, you know, you leave and you go to City Walk. Doolin says that's why you take a flask full of Everclear and like, I guess leave it in your car and go to the parking lot and drink.
Right.
I don't know about Everclear.
Sounds like a lot of
I
walking.
don't know. That's too much. Dude.
I mean, I have done the beers around the world and I definitely got pretty sloshy from doing that.
Really?
At Disney, yeah. I only made it to like 5 places and I was pretty drunk.
Really?
Yeah.
I do it now. Like, well, you're not going to Epcot, but I was like, I would do it
Yeah.
now. How old were you when you did that?
Early 20s.
So like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like do it now that you're
Yeah.
older because
yeah, maybe my tolerance will be
I was
different.
like, I felt like such a booze hound. I was like, I just want to get a buzz and I don't know, it just wasn't happening. But yeah, Epcot was definitely the vibe. I want to go back and I want to spend a whole day there and do the drink around the world and just like relax. Like it's fun. I feel like it's more fun for adults for sure. And now that the Guardians ride is there, it's like make a day out of it.
Yeah.
And then after that, we still went to Magic Kingdom. We went to 3 parks in one day. because we got there so goddamn early and we were there until like 10 o'clock at night. Like that was an all day thing.
Damn, 3 parks in one day.
Dude,
That's awesome.
in the day before we had done both Universals and then we did both of them again on Friday. Like it's no wonder that I got sick. I had no sleep. We would get back at 10 o'clock and then go have more drinks with everybody and party at the house, and then literally they were like, everyone's up at 7 a.m. so they can start leaving for the park at 8. And I was just like, ugh, the whole time, but I made it.
That's definitely way more hardcore than me. It's like we were like waking up at 8, like going and getting breakfast at the hotel, and then like getting to the park around like 10, 11, and then we would go around and we would just kind of beeline to every ride that we wanted to do. And once we had like done all the rides we wanted to do, it was typically around like 6, maybe 7 o'clock.
And then you're like, let's go.
We'd hit up the restaurant and somewhere, get dinner, and then back at the hotel by like 9.
Next time I go,
That's nice though.
we want to stay on one of the Universal resorts so we can take like the little boat down to City Walk.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That'd be cool.
Javi says let him in.
Oh, Javi. By the way, there's like no one watching right now. We have like 3 viewers, and one of them is doing.
I made post about it. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe people are probably doing Star Wars marathons right now.
Maybe that's such a good idea. Hey, Javi.
Hey,
But you
what's
were-
up, y'all?
You were right though about the Resistance. Okay, that ride was like life changing. That was like being in the movie. It was so freaking cool. And then the Millennium
it's like,
Falcon
I don't want to
one?
spoil things
Oh,
for
shit.
Josh. But when you said broke down, I got nervous because we were in line and at the Hogwarts, and there were some people, this couple behind us, and we were talking about the rides, and they had done Disney, and they said it literally broke down while they were on the ride. They were, the part.
Oh no.
I'll just say the capture, like
Uh-huh.
the cell.
Yeah.
Like they were in that part and it like shut down and the lights came on. So they had to kind of just sit to the
They were
side.
just stuck in that little tiny room.
Yeah, they said it was like 10 minutes and they came back on and they got to finish the ride and everything. And I was like, I'm glad they got to finish it. But I was like, man, that sucks because that kind of breaks the whole immersion thing,
Yeah.
But like, how dope was the like, when you first get on that transport and then it like opens up and you're just like, what am I on a goddamn spaceship right now?
Yeah, you are. Like it was like that. It was like my jaw dropped. I don't think you were supposed to take pictures, but I'm pretty sure a couple of us took a picture of it. Like, but once you're on the ride, it's pretty hard to take pictures, but and
Yeah,
they really discourage that too, because it's like, you want people to just go and ride the ride because you really have to. Like, there was
Yeah.
people that were like spoiling it by like fucking trying to video the whole thing in some of the other rides that we were on. And I'm just like, what's the point? Like, just be on the ride. Just enjoy it right now. Dude, just jaw dropping every single turn, everything. I was like, I was like a little kid. I had a huge smile on my face the whole day. Everywhere you turn, everywhere you look. But I was surprised at how heavy it was on the new movies, and that there wasn't a lot of Darth Vader. There wasn't a lot of just throughout the world.
Well, that's because
I don't know if they don't have the rights to
that's-
those movies, or
Well, they have the rights to everything, but I think they're just pushing all of that because merchandising, and that's all the stuff that's been created since Disney bought LucasArts.
Right.
So everything before
I don't think they
that
would make
was
money if they were selling like Yoda and Chewbacca dolls.
Well, if you just look at the toys and stuff that are out there now and merchandise for Star Wars, it's like it's Mandalorian, it's new trilogy, it's all the new stuff, and because that's what the younger generations, that's what they're all seeing. So it's like it's kind of like that whole marketing circle where it's like this is the stuff that came out, so the merchandise and toys come out to support the films, and then the films push the merchandise. How do they push more merchandise? It's like the theme park. It's all like a marketing cycle.
But like,
so you have to do what's
there's
current.
only really one ride, and it's called Star Tours. And it's kind of like you sit in the little room and the chair shakes. It's not like that incredible. It was still cool.
Well,
but
that's because that ride came out in like the 80s.
It's been, I know, I loved it.
I went on that ride when I was like 10. But what's cool is
but
they
it's
actually...
the only ride with Leia and 3PO and R2 in it. Every other ride, none of them are in it. Even the Millennium Falcon one, I think they're live.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
The Star
fucking
Tours,
amazing.
it's just funny because when I rode it as a kid, it wasn't C-3PO driving. It was some generic robot, and there was no prequel stuff. It was literally just the original films, and you were just kind of flying through the set pieces. They completely redid it.
You know what I was happy with? That there wasn't a lot of prequel stuff. Like, I think there was like one time I noticed Jar Jar Binks, and I think there was a pod from the pod racing, and I was like, oh, the pod from the pod racing, but like that was it. They just basically none of that stuff
That was in
really
the Star Tours thing. Yeah.
None of
But,
that
okay,
stuff.
so on the
no merchandise or anything was really about, those movies.
On the Han Solo, on the Millennium Falcon one, which
we were the drivers.
Yeah, it's so much better in the drivers, right?
I was like confused though, because are you like the whole time, and Jordan couldn't find the brake, and he was the one that was doing the brakes, and I was the one that got to do the light speed. It was so fun.
When you like pull the thing and it's like,
and then you go into light speed. It tells you what to do, and it's like and we made it to the end. That's all I know. So somebody that was riding with us was like, oh, we're veterans. You could tell, because I was like a little kid. I was like, oh my God, it's so cool. I get to be the driver. Oh my God. Like, I was so excited. They're like, we don't care that we don't get to be the driver. We've done this ride like a million times. I was like, oh, good for you. And we were just like, how, what's the trick? And they were like, oh, well, the last time that we rode this ride, our kids who were like 10 years old were the drivers. So we're like, pretty sure you're okay. And I was like, okay, because I heard that if you don't do a good job, the ride ends quickly because you crash. But I don't think it really lets you crash.
I just know there's a
no pressure.
You get a score at the end. Like, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna pay you based on your performance.
Yeah,
and on the end, they mark off for every
I think
time
we
you
did
wreck
good.
into something.
I think we did
if the grapple
good.
people don't get both payloads, like, yeah, you get scored at
I
the
think
end.
we did good. I don't know. The whole time I was like, I couldn't figure out if this was up or this was up. Because like if you're in a real
forward is down, back is up. That's how flight works.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So that's what I was doing. And then I was like, is that really? Because that's what I would do. Like I would be like, this pull up, this go down. And I don't know if that was really right. But I wish that we hadn't gone on such a busy week, because I would have rode it again. I would have waited in line and rode it again and done it again. All the rides. But like it was so busy, it's just impossible. And but what we did do with the Millennium Falcon ride is we got the Disney Genie thing, and on some of the rides when you do Genie, you can just basically reserve a time to come back to the ride. So that's what we did with a bunch of stuff at Disney. That's why I was like, oh, this is really fun, because instead of waiting in a line, I'm going off and doing something else. And then at like 2:45, that's when I go do the Millennium Falcon ride. But they only let you do it once a day. So if we wanted to ride that ride again, we had to wait in the line, which was like a 2-hour line.
I waited in the line twice for Millennium Falcon.
Nice.
But luckily at the end of the day, when we went the second time, it was down to like a 25-minute wait.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Wow.
Dude.
Because everybody was over at Rise of the Resistance.
See, I feel like if you plan, I feel like you can plan your day out if you know the trends of like where the people are going to be at what time of day. Like a lot, and you have the app and stuff, but like a lot of times, like we went on such a busy week, it was like every ride was just like the lines were just like an hour and a half, 2 hours the entire day. 60, 90 minutes all day, 120 minutes all day.
Oh yeah, both parks, same. and that's what kind of sucks is it's like, oh, we were here all day and we rode like 7 rides, but we got to do every ride that we wanted to once. Like we didn't do any of the kiddie rides, and like I said, the only roller coasters we did was the Raptor and Hagrid's. But I didn't mind because the other roller coasters have been there and I've already ridden them when I've gone in the past. But yeah, Hagrid's we did later just because A is such a huge Harry Potter fan. She was like, okay, I'm going to go on that. Doesn't look like it goes upside down. But she was like, I don't know how I feel about roller coasters. So I was like, they're fun. I was like, you've been in the military. You'll be fine. Like, you're tough, whatever. And we go on Velocity coaster, and I loved it. We get off. She's like, I wanted to scream so bad, but I was afraid if I opened my mouth, my soul would leave my body. She's like, I can't. She's like, I don't want to do any more of these. And I was like, okay. So I didn't do any more roller coasters. Except for Hagrid. But Hagrid's
That's not as
like
bad.
intense.
That's not as bad. It's a
And
great
she's added
ride.
a sidecar, so yeah. But honestly, I felt like almost safer on the bike because you feel like you're in control, like you're holding the handlebars and.
I was surprised at how I felt in the front row of Velocicoaster. I think we did the front row of the fucking other roller coaster we did anyway, too. And I was like, with the motion sickness, it actually helps because you're seeing where you're going. When you're in the middle or where you're in the back, you're just kind of getting whipped around and all you can really see is like the cart in front of you. So,
Right.
I mean, I kind of didn't mind doing the front row. I was like, this actually, I feel like, because I could see, okay, we're going upside down. Here's a corkscrew. It's coming. And you could kind of like mentally prepare. And then like
Right.
for me, like I'm just like I scream my head off on roller coasters. Like I was so hoarse by the end of those 3 days because if I don't like let it out, I will pass out. You know what I mean? Like I've passed out on roller coasters. I passed out on the Superman ride. That's why I'm so scared of it. But like if you don't, it's because you forget to breathe because you're like scared, so you're forgetting to breathe, so you just kind of like pass out.
I guess that makes sense.
I don't know. We've all seen those videos. Have you ever seen those videos on TikTok of the dudes screaming and like
Yeah,
and they just pass out. Another thing I wanted to show you guys was this. I don't know if you are familiar with the Batuan currency that you can get at Disney
Nice.
to use. You can actually pay with this.
That's cool.
Yeah. Come on, Light.
It's like the Hogwarts money that you.
That's
can get.
awesome.
Yes, but this is like way cooler. It looks like it looks like Beskar, I guess, what they use in the Mandalorian, but
Yeah.
they have their own planet. I guess it's called Batu. And like this isn't like advertised that you can get these. This is like something they only sell at one specific outpost, and you have to know like how to get it, and you have to ask for it special. It's like a gift card, basically.
Oh, so you can scan
That's
it
really
and reload
cool.
it.
Yeah.
And that kind of.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's like the barcode on the back. It's so fucking cool. And so when you go
That's
to pay
awesome.
with it, people are like, "Ooh, like you have the special thing."
Right.
So that made me feel cool. And like but this one you needed to load it with at least $100. The Hogwarts ones, I don't know. I think that's just a souvenir, right? Or no, you can still use it to buy stuff, but
Yeah, and it works. You can even use it on City Walk. Like it doesn't even have to be in the parks. Like
see, I
anything
should have got
Universal
that.
owned.
You get it at that like treasury building, right?
Yeah, but I mean it's paper money. It's just
It's
to
not as
be
cool as
fun.
this.
You give it to your kids and you buy some, give it to your kids, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna.
I think you could get, yeah. I don't know how much it was. I think it's just like that. I think it was pretty cheap to get it, right?
Well, yeah, it's a 1-to-1.
Okay. So
it's
however
like,
much you want to buy with
yeah,
it.
it's like.
But then you don't get
$10
to
and
keep
Hogwarts
it.
money is $10.
You don't get to keep it though. You have to use it, or is it like a gift card?
Well,
you get to
I
keep?
mean, you can take it home, and anytime you come back, you can use it.
But if you use it, do you have to like physically give it to somebody, or do they just?
Yeah.
See, that's like not. This is like way cooler to be like, oh, I have this little like trinket now and this token, and then like next time we go, we can like reload our card and like pay for everything with it.
Right.
That's cool. Yeah.
Just
I don't
load it
think
with however
Hogwarts has
many,
credit cards.
you know, because, huh?
I said I don't think Hogwarts has credit cards. I don't know. They only have paper money there.
I mean, this,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a credit card. It's like a gift card. But yeah, dude, then the Hogwarts stuff, I can't even. It was all just so phenomenal. Like, talking about being in the movie, like the Star Wars and the Hogwarts, it was all like just like being inside the movie. Like you're an actor in the set, and it was just too cool. And I
Yeah.
really like
Yes.
butterbeer too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Did you get the
It's
frozen
so
or the
good.
regular?
Just the regular kind. And it's like the best butterscotchy, foamy deliciousness.
I think the first day we got the regular one, and then when we went back, we got the frozen.
What
I
do you
actually really
prefer?
liked the frozen. The frozen was much better on like a warm day, like a hot day.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um,
Did
But-
you guys
Because-
like eat at the Leaky Cauldron?
I did.
um,
I didn't eat like a meal. It was
Mhm.
hard to like get a reservation. You had to like order what you wanted ahead of time. And we didn't get food there. I think we just got like fries and a couple of beers. I don't remember. No. We ordered like a shot
Mm.
because I just wanted to see the inside. And
It's cool.
we were like, yeah. we were like asking like the door lady, like, how do we get in? And it was like empty when we were in there. But the way that they were doing it when we were there was like, you could only go if you had previously ordered whatever you were going to eat or drink online. And we just weren't hungry. So we're like, let's go in there and we'll have like a shot and like something small to eat. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And we were able to like go right in because you kind of sit outside and you're like on the app being like, oh, let me order this and this. And then it's like our drinks just never showed up. And then I was like, I think we ordered something called like fire water, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is just going to be like Fireball. But when we tasted it, it was not. It was like their own special thing.
it's cool.
That's awesome.
I don't think they had a lot of vegetarian options there. It was mainly like bangers and mash and like British shit like that. Cause
Yeah,
it's
you could get
Diagon
like a
Alley.
turkey leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, there's not a lot for us here.
No.
But
Yeah, they go
let
to
me
the
tell you,
dinosaur. The Jurassic Park has like the veggie burgers and stuff.
dude, everywhere we went, there was vegan options everywhere, and they were delicious. The food that we had at Universal, the food that we had at Disney, I was like, it was like gourmet food truck, but like coming from a little like food court line, you know, a little bodega or whatever. But we had like vegan meatballs at one of the places. Some other kind of like, anyway, they had vegan stuff everywhere. It was awesome. It was like really easy to find food. We even got like breakfast sandwiches at the Star Wars place. And they were like breakfast tacos, and I don't even think it was real egg. I think they had like vegan egg and all this stuff. It was so good. I was impressed at the quality of the
Yeah.
food, because I feel like you go to Six Flags, you get like a hot pretzel and nacho. Like, it's bad. It's terrible. Disney, like, and Universal go all out. The food was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're paying a lot of money, so you should get something decent, right?
Yeah, totally. But like, we pay a lot of money to go to Six Flags and shit as well. And I'm like, it's just not anywhere near the like awesomeness. It's just it is a magical place.
Javi, how goes it?
Hey, Javi,
Hey,
you
what's
guys
up?
catch up. I'll be right back.
All right.
Mommy.
What's up, Josh?
I was just chilling.
Did you go to Disney too?
Not yet. I'll be
Oh.
going in June.
Oh.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing, Josh.
No, Steve.
Javi said he may be able to join us at the studio while you're here.
Oh,
May impair your performance.
oh. May is an understatement.
Well, you're
It
forgetting
will
the most.
absolutely impair my performance.
I feel like you guys are forgetting the most important instrument. I know you're doing drums, but I'm gonna show up with a cowbell.
Okay, well,
Dude, you should, and we should figure out at least one song to put it in.
that would be funny.
You play the shit out of that cowboy.
I'm gonna play it right
You
next
play the
to
shit out.
right next to Josh's ear.
Face.
You do that crap out in the service.
Since while we're catching up, there's not a lot of people in the chat, I know that, but y'all can interact and have fun with us on this May the 4th be with you. So go ahead in the chat. I want to see what is your favorite like
Favorite Star Wars movie?
not like movie, but like
Trilogy.
what's your favorite like Star Wars media? Is it like the original trilogy, the new? Is it the Mandalorian? Is it the Clone Wars cartoon? Like, of all the Star Wars franchise, like television movies, which one's your favorite? And put it in the chat and let's discuss while we catch up here. And I'm interested to see what everybody thinks.
I thought this question might come up today, and I really don't have a good answer. Like, I guess is it The Empire Strikes Back when Luke is like on Dagobah training with Yoda, or is that the Return of the Jedi?
Yeah. It's both, but well, he's training in Empire, and then he goes back.
Well,
to
also
complete
I
his
love
training
the
and return.
Ewok. See, that was another thing. Not one Ewok.
Yeah,
Not one Ewok.
just the 4, like on the Star Tours, you walk through the trees. The Ewok
Yeah.
village.
Yeah, really, not one. And not a lot of Jawas. You know,
Yeah.
not a lot of Jawas. I think they were selling a Jawa costume. I don't know, or it could
So
have just
many
been a Jedi
Jawas
rub.
in the Mandalorian, just constantly stealing and shit.
But you don't. But there
Crap.
was like stormtroopers, and then there was like Kylo Ren, but
Yeah.
no like Darth Vader, no any of that.
Chewbacca was there.
As long as Jar Jar Binks is there, that's all I care about.
So I don't know. JT says it's the prequel. That's a bold. That's a bold choice there. Can you elaborate on why the prequel is your favorite?
Hey, I can appreciate that, JT Rock and Roller, because I feel like they get criticized much too harshly. Yeah, I mean, it is a difficult question. I think for me, being such a fan, I love all of it. You know, it's like the more I can get, you know, I just want it. They're all fun in their own respect. And but if I were to break down the movie trilogies, just break them down in a nutshell, to me, the sequels are my least favorite, and mostly just the way I see it is the original trilogy is obviously the best, just for being the original. It created the universe. It has fantastic characters. The dialogue's great. The relationships are great. It's got iconic music and moments. For me, the prequels, I think the story in the prequels is phenomenal. Like, they've got a great story arc, and like Anakin's arc, the way they set up the politics of Star Wars and dive deep into that. There's a lot of depth and expanded universe stuff in the prequels that's really, really, really good. Unfortunately, I think it gets overlooked because it's got some bad CG issues, and then the dialogue.
It's got bad
really,
acting.
Really bad.
It's just bad acting for me.
Well, and it's not even the actors, because they're great actors. It's just bad. The problem with the prequels
I've seen movies where, well, and we're not talking about Ewan McGregor, because we know that him and I think who's the other guy? Qui-Gon Jinn? Who's that actor? He's another big guy.
Liam
Yeah,
Neeson.
that's
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, yeah.
They're them to, and then Samuel L. Jackson. I really just had the problem with the like Padme Anakin relationship.
Well, in even the relationship, it to me it all comes down to dialogue. George Lucas, he's a good big picture guy. He's great at creating universes and setting up the big picture. Indiana Jones. What he's not good is screenwriting. He's not good at dialogue. Like, because the original trilogy, he wrote and directed the first one, but the other two were different directors. There's different, like he wrote the guidelines for it, but other people wrote the prequels. He did everything because somebody wouldn't give him the budget, so he screw it. I'm going to use my own money. I'm going to make these movies, and he's just bad at writing dialogue. So the dialogue's just so cheesy and it's not believable because it's like nobody would say that. George Lucas is an awkward nerd. He doesn't know how to like communicate like normal people would.
Yeah, especially
and
like
that comes through in the
passion,
writing.
passion, love, stuff like that. Like why
Exactly.
I am willing to whatever. And the plus it wasn't Padme like way older than Anakin when they met? Like how old was she supposed to be?
She's like 10. She's like 8 or 10 years. She was like when they met, he was like
A little boy.
He was like 10 or 12, but she was like 18.
And then he's like,
19.
well, the whole like I haven't watched them. I'll be honest with you, but the whole like, oh, I've always like loved you and blah blah blah. I was like, it just was a little. I wasn't buying it.
Right.
I wasn't
So that's how
buying it.
I like. So
And then
I
when
feel
she
like
had the
the
kids,
prequels.
Didn't he
If
get
the
mad
dialogue
at
it
her?
wasn't so terrible, people would love them because the stories and the universe it sets up is actually fantastic.
And then when she dies, spoiler alert, giving birth or like shortly after, right? Doesn't she
yeah,
die
she dives
because she gives birth and he doesn't want her to have the kids because she's going to die and blah, blah, blah. And that's how he eventually, it didn't like, doesn't sink in that point that like, that's why he goes to the dark side. Like that reasoning and that love for her and losing her and like that being what sets him over the edge. It's lacking the depth for me.
Well,
You don't really
the whole
get
reason
the
was
depth of that moment, even the depth of her dying. You don't really get it.
it wasn't just her. It's the reason he followed the Sith and was like kind of tricked into it because the Emperor told him he knew how to tap into the Force and tap into the power to bring people back from the dead.
Yes.
And so he lost his mother. He dealt with that dead. And then he had a precognition dream of Padme. So that's the whole reason he dabbled in that is he's like, I want to become so powerful. I can bring people back from the dead. So he like was going down a good place, but his depression and anger from the death he experienced around him was kind of like what pushed him over. Like Yoda says, it's like anger is.
Yeah. I don't know, but again, maybe the dialogue didn't drive that home.
It doesn't sell it.
It doesn't sell it. That's kind of like a profound realization or profound moment. I feel the same way. Don't come for me about the Hunger Games films not really getting to when people are dying, because the Hunger Games is literally about everyone dies except for 2 people. And you don't get the depth of like people are like dying around you. Like it's just taken very lightly. Oh, that person's eliminated. That person's. Where in the book there's like 3 or 4 pages of like, writing about like how it affects Katniss when she loses, especially who was it, Ren? But anyway, I always had beef with that. I always felt like the books were so like shallow, or not books. The movies were so like shallow. And it's like, I know it's a movie and not like the book, but like you can't just cram everything in there. You've got to like edit stuff. And my beef with the Hunger Games is always like they should have just left out whole entire parts to get the depth of the parts that they were trying to do, which may be the problem with the prequels. They were trying to cram too much stuff in to these movies and too much story. And then you end up editing out a lot of the stuff that makes it all make sense.
Yeah, JT, pretty much me and him are saying the same thing. So
Yeah.
I got you, JT.
I didn't realize that he
We agree
directed the
there.
prequels.
Yes, he directed all of them, because nobody was gonna. The publishing companies weren't gonna give him money or do anything, so he was like,
That's
"Screw it, I'm gonna
weird.
do it myself."
Why? Why?
That's
Yeah,
weird to
which
me.
is crazy because he created one of the biggest franchises
Yeah.
in the world.
Well, maybe
but-
because they were like,
Yeah.
this is a big turd.
Well,
Nobody wants
they
to
just
direct it
wanted
because it sucks.
too much, or he wanted a lot of money to do it because he wanted to push the technologies at the time. Jesse in YouTube says that Anakin was always a little boy, which is true. He kind of didn't really grow up. And then the sequel trilogy, to me, I think it's the weakest, and the reason is I think it's got fantastic actors and the performances are great. They're fun movies.
And there's a
Visually,
black
they're
guy.
stunning. They're visually stunning. Hey,
Yeah.
Lando was in the originals.
Oh,
Mace
true,
in
true,
it.
true.
There's all
Okay. But,
Um,
as
you
like
know,
the main
female-
character, a
female
female,
force,
a
you
black guy,
know.
I was like, all right, we're bringing some diversity, equity, and inclusion into the Star Wars franchise.
Of
you know.
course, inclusion should be the main driving force for
I was
any
happy.
story.
I was happy about
But the problem is all of that is backed up by terrible stories. Like the stories of the sequel movies are just bad. They're derivative. There's nothing interesting about them. At the most interesting of the movies is the one everybody seems to hate the most. The Last Jedi was the only one that actually kind of
Was that the last
brought up-
one?
what's that?
Was that the last one?
No, that was the middle one.
Oh, okay.
Rise of Skywalker was the last one, and
I loved all of them. And I think it might just be the nostalgia factor for a lot of us because I do feel like they played to that.
oh, for sure, 100%.
Do you
Especially
agree?
The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens was basically a New Hope 2.0, but not as good.
I was fine with it. Like, that's the thing.
know.
I was very, I loved all of it. I love BB-8. I love the little, critters. I love that they went back to Tatooine. I don't know. I just loved everything. But,
Yeah, I mean, they're fun. Again, I'm a Star Wars fan. I enjoy all of them. They're fun to watch, but I was hoping that they would bring the story somewhere interesting. It would have been way more interesting if the sequels were about Luke having his Jedi Academy and training Jedi and seeing Kylo, the turn there, that whole period, and seeing what's going on in the universe and how the First Order even kind of comes about. And they're kind of getting into some of that with Mandalorian to kind of help make the movies better by talking about how Snoke was created and how the Emperor came back. But The Force Awakens, again, it was the same movie just with different people. It was Rey was Luke, 8 was R2. We got Kylo's the new Darth Vader, Snoke's the new Emperor, the Star Killer Base is the new Death Star, the First Order's the new, and it all leads up, and Rey's the farm girl that comes up, and now she's learning about the Force, and they destroyed it's the same movie again, and I'm like, that's just
you
boring.
just hate that it's the same movie with a girl. And we can't
I don't
have
care
it.
that it's a girl.
We
my favorite Star Wars film has a girl. Rogue One is one of my
Oh.
favorite movies ever.
Oh,
and
that
Jyn
was a
Erso
great.
is
Oh,
the
they were
lead.
in some of it. No, cuz never mind. Somebody
Yeah.
No, yeah, that pilot from Rogue One is in one of the he's in the ride. Talking to Finn.
yeah.
Right? That was him, right?
Well, in the Millennium Falcon ride, well, it's got the guy from the Clone Wars. God, what's his name? The alien dude, the smuggler, the pirate.
Mhm.
I don't know. I forget his name. But
Well, anyway, I mean, I feel like there was definitely a lot of people represented in the park, but not as much of who I would have thought Like I was expecting to be like, I just have to admit, I guess, that I'm fucking old and they can't just have R2D2 everywhere and Chewbacca. It's like it's gonna all be Kylo Ren and BB-8 and shit like that, because that's if you're
It's Star Wars for the new generation.
it's Star Wars for the
That's
new
what
generation,
kids-
and it's different, but it's updated. It's a different story. The whole time I always thought that Rey was gonna be like Obi-Wan's daughter. The whole time I thought that would have been a cooler thing than having her be, spoiler alert, you know, a clone of the Emperor or his actual daughter. I still am like not really sure what the fuck that was, because the fact that she could like touch that lightsaber. I feel like I need to rewatch the movies though.
Yeah, she's
Like,
a
she kept having
Palpatine,
all
but
these
But it's like,
visions.
how is she a Palpatine? They never.
I think she was like
Emperor
a clone.
Palpatine never had a offspring.
I think she was like a clone,
Yeah, I don't know. It was weak.
a
weak
half
storytelling.
clone. I don't know. Someone enlighten us. Somebody in the chat, Josh, Javi, someone enlighten us. I don't know.
I would
I
recommend.
loved it though. I loved how they wrapped it up, because they were like, we're never making any more Star Wars movies. But then The Mandalorian came out, and I still haven't watched Book of Boba Fett.
It's fun. It's halfway through it. Plus, they have the like making of Mandalorian. They have a behind the mask talking about the history of Boba Fett, which is super interesting. They talk about how this character that literally had 4 lines of dialogue,
He's just
and
a
6 minutes
such
of
a
screen time,
yeah
like became this huge icon.
yeah.
And phenomenon that was really interesting. But in the Mandalorian season and how they made the episode, which is really cool, but they talk about the reveal at the end and writing that in and how they had to keep it secret so much.
Mhm.
But they talked to Luke,
Mark
why am
Hamill.
Mark Hamill, and they were talking about asking him, and man, that guy talking, he's such a sweet old man, like, you know, like such a genuine dude the whole time he's talking, and like talking about the reactions to the movies and things. And it's funny because I love Harrison Ford just for the characters he plays. Like, I love his characters, love Indiana Jones, love Han Solo. But, you know, he kind of went through this whole like, oh, I'm too good for Star Wars. I don't want to be like pigeonholed into this. You know, I don't want to go to, you know, these Comic Cons. I don't want to do all these things. And, you know, he kind of lightened up a little bit. But Mark Hamill just is so genuinely grateful for all of his fans and like the people who support the movies that made his life, and him talking about just how amazed he is when he goes and sees the cosplay and all the stuff that people do, and he's just like genuinely blown away. And watching him talk was great. But I couldn't imagine being he's the director.
He directed Elf,
Yeah,
and he was in Swingers.
Why
why
can
can I not
re-
think of his name right now?
I
We're all
know.
having a collective moment.
Brain fart. But he's such a fan, and obviously
Director of The Mandalorian.
Oh, you're looking it up.
Well, there's a bunch of directors. It might be hard.
She literally said, I don't know who directed The Mandalorian.
But anyways, he's been a fan his whole life, and he was like, you know,
John Favreau.
Yeah, John
Ah,
Favreau.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He's such a nerd and a fan of the genre, and you know, he got so excited, and getting Mark Hamill on it, and hearing him talk about it with Dave Filoni, having Mark Hamill there, and he is like, even I didn't know this. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together, but he's like, Dave Filoni came up to me and he's like, you know, if Luke's going to be here, that means R2 is going to be here. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, I got so excited. And he was like, he hadn't seen anything, and he was directing that scene. And he said all of a sudden the R2 unit like drives up and pulls up next to Mark Hamill and beat boobs. And he's like, I don't know what it is, but he's like, I lost it. He's like, I like started tearing up on set. He's like,
That's
like, it's
awesome.
one of those things that's so special that you don't understand until you're in the moment.
Yeah.
Like how these things and these nostalgia and these things that inspire you, like impact your life. And he's like an older man, grown man, talking about how he's just like having this like fan moment, just seeing the live robot there when
That's
he's
so
directing
cool.
all these crazy
I would have had the
things.
same. That's like
That's
I feel like
awesome.
that's how I felt when I went to Galaxy's Edge. Even just being there, seeing it, and like going on the ride, like I don't know. That's how I felt though. Like that nostalgia, like even though it was all very new, you're still like it's still Star Wars. The rides I think are a lot more about I don't know. It like the Millennium Falcon looks exactly like the Millennium Falcon. Like you feel like you're on it. And I was moved.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
you get all the Easter eggs, and
You just
that's
like
what I
you're
love
just
so
looking
much
around, you're
about.
like, oh look at this and that, and like, oh my god, it's like and it's life size. Like you're walking in it. It's not like a picture of it or a replica or whatever. It's like it's like it's life sized. You expect to see like any minute now Han Solo is gonna come walking around the corner.
Yeah, it'd
So
be a young
crazy.
Han, I guess, there, because it's the Solo movie. But yeah, yeah, it's all the nostalgia and the Easter eggs. That's why I've been loving the Disney Plus shows so much. Is because like the movies are great, people like them, like casual movie watchers. But the shows like Mandalorian and Boba Fett, and
There's
now
way
the
more
Obi.
time to do a story. The
Well,
Mandalorian is incredible.
but what they're doing though is like, and with Obi-Wan show is like
Oh,
people who
when
are
does
just
that come
watching
out?
them casually now. It comes out at the end of this month, and it looks crazy good, way better than
Ooh.
it looks movie quality. It's insane. Like watch the new
Dude,
trailer.
and then don't even get me started on there's going to be like the whole Lord of the
Ahsoka
Rings
show
thing, the Lord of
Oh,
the
Lord of
Rings
the Rings, yeah.
show on Amazon Prime. Like, I'm not ready.
But they're like pulling characters and storylines and plots from like the Clone Wars cartoons, the Rebels cartoons, the books and novels. They're even taking characters from video games now. They had the robot from Jedi Fallen Order is in Boba Fett. Like they're pulling all this stuff from all these sources that only like Star Wars nerds know about. They're like the nerds that have watched all that shit is now coming into live action, and you're getting so stoked because it's like this is the stuff I've been like geeking out about forever, but nobody knows about because they only watch the movies and that it.
Yeah.
And so
They're just casual fans. What about you, Javi? Are you like big into Star Wars or Harry Potter at all?
No.
Yeah, it seems like you haven't been chiming in as much this conversation.
Well, I have one nostalgic memory from Star Wars. My dad had the VHS box 3-pack
Oh
of
yeah.
A New Hope, and it was like had Darth Vader on the side, and
Mm-hmm.
I just
had that.
remember.
I had that too.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember being a kid and going up to it and like smelling it because it always smelled like fresh plastic or something.
Dude, I'm not the
We
only
were
person who
huffing
does
toys.
that. Dude, a
Oh.
VHS tape has like a specific smell to it. It does.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
was
Like,
weird.
If I ever open up like an old VHS, the first thing I do is smell it.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that fresh
well, if you're
plastic
going like
smell.
this, you're talking about Disney.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that
yeah.
clicked and
The
stuff.
click,
Oh
yeah.
The
yeah.
plastic.
I
like,
think
you-
I have a couple VHS. Oh, by the way, can I segue into more nostalgia?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, by
Oh.
the way, I was a Beanie Baby collector when back in the 90s when I was a kid, and I had like a little book that told me what they were and blah 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 blah. So I had a ton of Beanie Babies, and I thought they were so cute, and I had a big collection. I wasn't really like dead set on getting like rare or valuable ones. If I thought it was cute, I would ask my parents for $5 and they would buy me one because that's how much they all were. So over the years, I got rid of a ton of them, but like I kept the ones that I thought were like the cutest or / might be worth some money in the future. So recently, you know, my grandma passed away. My mom's going through a bunch of her stuff at our house, which included a bunch of my stuff, which included the box of Beanie Babies that my mom's been like dying for me to get rid of for years. And I'm like, oh no, just like I'll go through them one day and just keep them. They're cute. I like them. And it's like a small box. But I have like some rare ones and I have some really old ones. And because I'm old. So like my mom starts pulling stuff out. She starts pulling stuff out for the garage sale and she starts freaking Googling them and she literally thinks she's a millionaire. She is like freaking out like, oh my God, this one's worth $15,000. And I'm like, Mom, it's not. I promise you. Like, I promise you it's not. It's probably worth $15, but not 15,000. Like she's like, but she's going to mail them to me and then Beanie Babies, the right collector, maybe they'll pay $10 for one of them, you know, and then times 30, you know, you got a few $100s in that box. It's better than just selling them for 50 cents at the garage sale to like some lady with a kid who's just going to stick it in their mouth. But then she was like, oh my God, you have like this one and this one and this one. And like, if you Google certain ones that I have, it's going to show up the most expensive one that's for sale. And I'm like, I don't have that one. I don't have that rare. It has to be the certain year, the certain tag, the certain condition to be worth that much. And then you have to find somebody that's actually paying that much for it. It's two very different things. But I have faith because Pokemon is like having a moment right now, which I would know. Nobody in their right mind just like walking down the street would be like, oh yeah, like this little card is definitely worth. What are people paying for the Charizard first generations? Like $200,000 or some shit.
Oh yeah,
like
250,000 or something.
Like no. So one day I'm like, maybe my Iggy the Iguana is gonna actually like come back into fashion again. But I just don't think that's gonna happen. I don't know, but it happened with Pokemon, so. But
so crazy.
But it's the same thing where like it's just a niche. You have to find the right collector. But are there those people out there? Maybe there are, because I would never have thought there were Pokemon people out there, and then there they are.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is worth what people are willing to pay. That's, you know, if it's rare enough to you and it's collectible enough to you, then that kind of dictates how valuable something is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jordan's always telling me, oh, this is our retirement plan. I don't know. I got Pokemon. I got Pokemon here. I got Pokemon here. I got Pokemon all over the house every single day. He's online buying, selling, trading. And he's like, it's our retirement plan. It's our retirement plan. I'm like, hey, well, what if 20 years ago I was like, the Beanie Babies are my retirement plan, and maybe one day they will be.
Does he have a Charizard, like a legit Charizard?
I'm pretty sure he does, yeah.
Because even like
he has like a bunch of them. He has like a ton.
Yeah. Because even like the first edition, whatever year, 1999 or whatever, that $250,000 one. But even like below that, they're still upwards of like $5,000.
He'll like hand me a binder and he'll be like, guess how much money this is? And I was like, I don't know. And he'll be like $10,000. And I'm like, sure. If you sell them today,
yeah.
But if
true.
you don't, then I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
you brought up a good topic here, like
collectability.
Well, I want to pose this question to all of you because I feel like I've been talking so much this stream, nerding out about Star Wars, that I need to divert. But so you're talking about how much something is worth. Like even me, like you can tell, everybody that knows me knows I'm a nerd. I'm a collector. I have Star Wars Legos. I collect things. But I can't imagine one thing that I am passionate about that I would pay $250,000 for. That's not a house. Like, so for you guys,
I wish I could find a house for $250,000. I would buy it right now. Houses are fucking twice that much.
Right.
But you're right. You're right.
But
$250,000. That's like a house.
Yeah. Each of you think
you're
of
buying a Charizard.
Like, thing you're most passionate about that collecting, and what's the most you would pay for that thing?
I mean, a few $1,000s, but not $200,000. It depends what it is.
So
like, what's that for you then?
Like probably something Care Bears. Probably something from like when I was a kid that you can't find that's not made anymore. You know, that's the thing with the base set is that they're not made. They were made for like a short amount of time. It's the same thing with the Beanie Babies. They were only made for like a short amount of time. So if you have one, it's like rare to have it. But if you the only things that are worth anything are the things that are rare that you can't find. But I don't even know what it would be. Because like I just bought the whole Care Bears, did a whole makeup line. I bought the whole thing and it was $100. You know?
For makeup, but not, that wasn't something from childhood though.
You know, it was like a whole box of like the whole line of the new makeup. My sister bought one too. We were on the phone and I was like, holy shit. Care Bears makeup. And then I have the whole Animal Crossing, and ColourPop has a Star Wars makeup collection too. And it's like, well, why don't I just buy that too? I don't think I'm going to do the Star Wars makeup, but certain things trigger my nostalgia. And it's honestly because Beanie Babies is still around. It's not like they just stopped making Beanie Babies and didn't do Beanie Boos and didn't do all these little spinoffs and little keychains. And they're so fucking cute, but they're not rare. There's nothing rare about them. So that's why they're not worth a lot of money. Doolin says he's seen $35,000 chess sets. I believe that because depending on what it's made out of.
Yeah.
But what about you guys?
Josh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because there's actually two things that I've looked up before to see if I would drop that kind of money. So when I was a kid, which I actually talked about one of them before because it's like my favorite toy I've ever had growing up. And it was a Jurassic Park T-Rex, but like pretty big. And it was like,
if you press
rubber.
it, does it like make the sound?
If you like stomp it on the ground, it makes the sound. And I loved it. It just looks so good, like the quality of it and everything. I just loved it. And I've priced them before.
I'm just picturing little baby Joshy with his like
honestly, I can't see, like, I'm sure it's at like in the attic at my parents' house. I can't see they would have got rid of that because that was like my favorite.
Your favorite toy. Yeah.
But I do know I've looked it up before, just what it would be going for, like in the package. And I mean, it's not absurd, but I definitely think it's a couple $100.
Yeah.
And I probably, if I
but
had
like now that you're adult and you have, you know, if you have a couple $100, you'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna do that.
I probably would. And there's another one. So when the Sonic Adventure video game came out for the Dreamcast, they released a line of toys. And I remember there was a local toy store and they had the Sonic toy there, and I got it and let my cousin play with it, and she broke it. And I was heartbroken because Sonic was in pieces. And it wasn't until years later, because they like discontinued it quick. Like the company went under. I don't know. It was crazy. But to literally find one of those in the package, they're like really expensive. And I mean, probably close to $1,000. And
the toy,
I don't,
because you had to like buy the game to get the toy.
Well, no, it was just the line of toys was based on the game, on that specific game, and they only ran them for a limited time.
Yeah.
But to actually get one like in the package still is like, it's expensive. I don't know if it would be crazy. Like I'd love to have it, but I don't know if I could actually drop like $1,000 or over $1,000 for one. But
really, I mean, because like, well, I guess what are you gonna do with it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it would sit on my shelf and I would love it. I mean, it would mean the world to me, but it's just one of those things. Like, how do you, like, for $1,000, I could buy a lot of other stuff.
Wait until you start your big boy job, Josh.
Well,
then you're gonna be like,
true.
$1,000?
Maybe I'll
have
a whole, you have
a whole shelf of all your childhood toys. Sonic be right next to the Jurassic Park thing. Oh, that was only $300. Whatever. Just wait.
Yeah, this is my $5,000 shelf right here,
dude.
No big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying that I have anything that's like worth that much money, but
no,
not that I paid for. You know, maybe stuff that's worth that much, but no, there's no way. Just the Pokemon cards. Now I feel like somebody's gonna rob our house and steal.
I
his
do
Pokemon
have
cards.
another Sonic toy that I kept in the package I got a few years ago, just in case, you know.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, and I have like a Mario too. That because I feel like with those, since they're like video game, like it's not. I feel like they're only like lines of toys when things are going on. You know,
Mhm.
like if there's like a big game coming out or something like that. So potentially they could be worth something one day, but yeah, I'd probably drop money if I had it for something I really loved like that. But
I love that you know specifically. You're like, it's this
the,
Sonic.
those two
It's
things, yeah,
this. Yeah, I love that.
T-Rex and
I
Sonic,
don't
yeah.
think I have. I've never like looked something up like that. What about Steve, Javi? What about you guys?
Javi, go ahead.
I mean, aside from a house, that'd probably be my number one.
Well, we're talking about like knickknack
Collectibles
collectibles.
or-
Like, what would you?
Whoa, whoa,
What do
whoa.
you?
Besides the house, probably like any one of like an instrument that was used.
I knew it was gonna be a guitar. I knew it. I was like, it's gonna be like Conway Twitty's guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, anything that was like any instrument that was used to make a timeless record. That's probably what I'd be like. You know,
You're the.
I've actually seen. We went to Memphis to Sunset Studios. They give tours, and I've actually seen like Roy Orbison's guitar.
That's
I
so
was like,
cool.
holy
That's
shit!
awesome.
That's really cool.
You should look. Well, if you follow the different artists, I know sometimes the artists will do auction off their instrument signed for like charity or something.
Yeah, and those will go for
Mhm.
like thousands. And so it's not so much that the thing itself is priceless or worth money. It's like they're donating the proceeds to charity because it's,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
then you can
Yeah.
have that guitar that was used to record something and hang it on your wall and play it, but then also have the gratification of knowing what you spent on it went to help others.
I was actually
Yeah.
at a it's really crazy. So I was at Walmart randomly, like just searching through CDs, and they were like these classic oldies, and I picked up, Roy Orbison and this other guy. He makes guitars, and he like makes them for like Keith Urban and all these other artists, and we got to talking about old school music, and then like I see him at a show. I knew one of the artists that was performing, and he remembered me from Walmart, and we were hanging out backstage, and he was like, dude, look what I have. And he pulled out like Roy Orbison's sunglasses. And I was like,
What?
oh my, I was like,
wow.
and they were legit, because like any typical sunglasses, like they have these little things on the
Are they
sides.
like Ray-Bans?
Yeah,
Like
Ray-Bans.
Wayfarer, like old 1950s Wayfarers?
Probably, but like normally they only have like one or something,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure his had like three.
Oh.
And they were like the real deal. And so I was like, dude, can I wear them? And he's like, yeah, man. I
Yes.
was like, fuck.
What?
So I took a picture with them on.
You need to post that. Post it on our Instagram. Send it to me.
All right, I'll have to find it, but yeah,
That's awesome.
That's sick.
$200,000.
Did he buy them for
I
$200,000?
mean,
How?
Say
How
what?
did he get them? Did he buy them for like $1 million? Or?
I'm not sure, but like seeing that like Roy Orbison lived in Hendersonville, like I'm sure there's all kinds of crazy. Like I used to work with this lady, a coworker. She was like head of, or like the assistant to like Roy Orbison's like family run organization. And she was like, oh yeah, I have this compilation CD, like you can have it. And so she gave it to me, and it was this like massive compilation thing, and I was like, thank you so much. Like she's like,
that's awesome.
yeah, it's crazy.
I didn't know he lived in Hendersonville. That's crazy. I lived
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So I live the same place as Roy Orbison. No big deal.
No big deal.
That's awesome though.
What about you, Steve? What's your like holy grail collectible item?
I don't know. Like, I don't. Well, I don't really collect anything that would ever get that pricey. I think the most I've ever paid for something, it's like I have the horror figures, the kind of like realistic. Um, they're not like action figures; they're like replica figures for Silent Hill, and I think the figure was like $200 or $300, and so that's probably the most I've spent on like a collectible. Other than that, I collect Star Wars Legos, but the thing is Legos are just expensive in general. Like to buy the Millennium Falcon, the big Lego thing, just brand new from Lego, it's like $700. So
Holy shit.
so they're just
What?
expensive in general. Like, but I think, but there's ones that are rare and discontinued, and the ones like the X-wing I have is the like 90s model. So those are like have been discontinued. The Legos, the big, large replica Star Wars Legos that came out in the 90s are discontinued, and some of them, are going for like, $2,000. So, if I had extra money, maybe I'd maybe spend $2,000 to get one of those, just because they don't make that run anymore.
I feel like when they do like cribs and they go to like Travis Barker's house, like he definitely has them. Like
Yeah,
there
for
was
sure.
or Mark one of the guys from Blink-182 I think did a cribs one time, and he was like, this is my room, and it was like all Legos, action figures, like just shit. Just all
Yeah,
of it.
Richard Patrick from Filter, he's a huge Star Wars fan. He's got like one of those storage units that's just Star Wars memorabilia that he's like bought
Damn.
props and things.
That's fucking
Wow.
cool.
But even me being a collector of the Star Wars Legos, I wouldn't pay 10 grand for one. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
It's
a
like
lot.
I like
Yeah.
things, but I don't like things enough. It's like, but who knows? I mean, if everybody, it's all hypothetical. Everybody, like if you were a millionaire,
It's like if you were
like,
rich, if money
Yeah.
was no object, like I'm sure it wouldn't matter. What would be the
yeah, if
thing
you had
that you would
Elon
want to
Musk
buy?
money, then who cares? It's like
Yeah.
you buy the $250,000
don't-
Pokemon
If
card.
money was no object, I still don't think I could think of a single thing that I'm like, that's my holy grail. That's the thing
Yeah.
that I want.
Mhm.
Like I want something that was in. I'll take that back because you guys know how much I love Fight Club. So if there was like Fight Club used on camera, costume, whatever, I would probably I would hoard that shit like crazy if I had all the money in the world. Scripts, stuff like that. Like I'm just such a big fan of that movie. So yeah,
To
I
me,
would
well,
definitely-
actually, if money was no
Mm.
object, to
Yeah.
me, I'm much more of an experiences person than things person, which sounds contradictory because I have all these knickknacks and things. But that I just have these because I've collected them over years. But I don't care. Like when I think about like what I want to spend money on, I don't care about big houses. I don't care about fancy cars. I prefer to do things. So if money was no object, I would spend money going to Disney to do that full like the Star
the
Wars
full
hotel
Star Wars
for,
thing.
like,
Yeah,
the-
you
you
like
know.
stay there.
Yeah, and they make you a character, and there's this whole like thing
What?
that you do. It's crazy. The whole like experience
much
is
is
like
that?
$5,000, something crazy
Per
like that.
person, but it's like a
Yeah.
week long thing.
Yeah, and
So it's kind
That,
of like
that might be worth
it.
yeah.
We should
Yeah.
all
um,
do
and-
it as a band.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
go to
Should be
New
a band
Zealand.
trip.
I would stay in the Shire place, and
Okay,
do,
so-
like I would do all those things or the meet and greet.
That's not what we're talking about, though. Like, obviously, if money was no object, we would all travel the world and live our best lives and do all these cool things. But we're talking just about stuff.
things. Yeah,
We're
I don't know.
Like
I don't
specifically-
think that's-
reality, reality that Disney thing, I could drop that kind of money to do something like that. I feel like
I think that would
that
be
would
worth
be
it.
crazy.
I
you
think
know?
it would be like it's a once. See, the thing is, it's a once in a lifetime experience. Like a lot of people going to Disney is a once in a lifetime experience. So I think
Mhm.
they understand that. Some people only go there once in their lifetime. Yeah, there's people who can afford it or live local and can go 2 or 3 times a year or once every couple of years, and they'll go several times like somebody like us. But some people, they go to Disney and they live in like freaking China or whatever, and they're like, this is my one time going to. So I feel like they have that in mind when they think about the complete experience. This could be the one day that somebody is here, then they'll never come back. So let's make it the best day ever. There's a fucking parade every day. What was really cool when we went to Universal too is that they had Mardi Gras going on at Universal, and we did not.
It was Mardi Gras week.
Did you watch the parade? We got like beads and shit. It was like the craziest fucking thing, and we had no idea what was happening. Like, they were like, "What's this Mardi Gras thing?" And I was like, "I don't know. They have like Mardi Gras themed like drinks and food at like some of the bodegas," but I was like, "I don't think anything else really happens." And then that night there was a freaking Mardi Gras parade, and they were throwing beads, and it was amazing.
I didn't go to the
That's
parade,
awesome.
but leaving, I saw the tree where everybody was throwing their
Throwing
beads
their
up in the
beads.
tree.
So none of us got the memo about the beads. We were all wearing beads, and then we went to City Walk, and then we got like Fat Tuesdays, and we were just like having a great night, being like, "Yay, Mardi Gras, like beads," and then like missed the tree, took all of our beads home to the Airbnb, and then we're packing up to leave. We're like, "What do we do with these?" I just threw mine away, and I feel really bad. But like,
That's
what do you
what-
do with beads? Everyone was like, "What do you do with the beads after?" They're just going to throw them
Yeah.
away. That's what I think of a lot of the stuff that we all collect. You know, it's like someday it's just going to get thrown away.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's
I
going
don't mean
back
to be
the-
depressing
going back to
completely.
the Star Wars experience thing that Josh said. I want all the people streaming right now to witness. You heard it here first. If we finish this album, we release it. If the new album goes gold, the band is paying for all of us to do the Star Wars.
Oh, all
experience.
just the band members.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So how
Yeah.
much is gold? 100,000?
I thought it was
I don't know. I forgot.
50,000?
500,000. I thought it was like 500,000.
We're bad. We don't
Oh,
even
just
know.
silver. Well,
Platinum's
and
a
two, it's
million.
weird because
500,000.
nobody buys
500,000.
records now. So, what is it for streams?
We just need
How many streams to go
5
gold?
people to buy 100,000 records.
Platinum,
Crazy.
RIAA. Oh, 500,000.
Half a mil.
What's silver?
That doesn't exist. Silver doesn't exist. It's RIA Gold and Platinum Awards. Gold is 500,000. Platinum is $1 million. Multi-platinum is at least 2 million. Diamond is 10 million. Who?
I mean,
Hmm.
I'm
The
sure
same
there's
way.
I'm
Certain
sure
artists,
I'm
Taylor
sure
Swift
Taylor
and
Swift is
Lizzo and
still-
them. That's it. They're the only people.
I wonder if they
I
take
mean,
into account like the
T-Swift fans are still
downloads.
buying records.
I think
but
you're right though. If they download it, if they pay for the download, I think it's still.
They probably add that into it.
Well, yeah, I'm sure if
maybe.
somebody bought the whole album on iTunes, that counts. But that's even rare. I haven't bought an album in years on iTunes or physical or anything. I just stream everything. So,
What?
like,
How
what's
many
the
streams to
streaming
make a platinum
equivalent?
album? The
Did you guys? Sorry.
the Recording Industry of America says 1,500, which means a platinum award requires a mere 1.5 billion streams. 1.5 billion streams. So
For
that's
platinum.
For platinum.
for platinum.
What's
Damn.
gold?
Probably half of that.
Nope.
So
So is that for-
750 million.
Million. Okay, if we
And
get
we have, like, 1
750
million.
million streams on the new album,
I'm like,
the
oh,
band's
we're
paying
there.
for all
No,
of us to go
we have
to
like
this.
1 million streams. How many streams do we have total in our lifetime of being a band? Over a
On
million.
Spotify,
few
we
million.
have like 5 million.
A few
6
million.
million
All together across, but not on just one song or one album.
right.
Mm.
I mean,
There's it's still
Whew.
good. Like, you know, the Revenge of the Nearly Dead says like 2.5 million.
As
the
a
original
record.
EP, yeah, as a record has a few million. So yeah,
It's pretty good.
one single sale.
Not good
is-
enough for Disney, but it's
That's,
good.
that's pretty good.
Streams will now count.
It is really good though.
Jesus.
That
Did
could
you
give
guys
us
see-
a day at Disney.
Did you guys? Did you guys see the black market where this guy? It's all over TikTok. He set up like maybe 100 or 200 phones and tablets, and like artists can pay like $1,500 to get like 100,000 streams.
What?
No.
What is it?
What?
What was this?
That's crazy.
It's a room. It's like a warehouse where this guy has like 100 or 200 phones set up and tablets, and you pay him and he can up your streams.
Oh, so he just
He
streams
just
them on each
streams
device.
them on
He
each on
streams them
200
on, yeah.
devices.
Wow.
That's
And
crazy.
it bumps the numbers up to make you look, appealing to record labels.
Wow.
That's crazy. It's nothing's real anymore. I
Mm-mm.
just had a conversation today with a new company that does playlisting. And I
You guys
called them.
interested?
Well, I'm testing them. I've been testing these companies out with my side project, and then if they seem legit, then I can incorporate it to the Nearly Deads when things happen. But yeah, he seems pretty cool. I like. He was saying that. Well, he used to work in the industry as A&R for a label. I think it was Warner. One of the Warner labels, but and he used to be in a band, so he kind of like gets the hustle. And the big thing that like I appreciated is they do a money back guarantee if if they're like if because all those playlisting things, it's like the price you pay is for like they'll give you like 15 days or 30 days on these playlists for this price, and it should get you, and they'll say like 2,000 to 3,000 streams or 10,000 to 40,000, something like that. And then they just you're paying thinking that you're going to get whatever around this ballpark number, and you're going to be on these playlists for these many days. But this company, he's saying they do a money back guarantee. If you paid for like, say you paid for 40,000 streams for a 30-day campaign, if in 30 days they can't reach that 40,000, they give you your money back.
I don't know, man. It's like, why bother spending money on that at all?
Because that's the best way to market. Because you're actually to me, playlisting is the best thing, because the whole point is you want people to hear your music. You want people to hear the new song. And so streams is getting it in their ears. Like, to me, like paying for social media ads and stuff, like you're not guaranteed that anybody's going to see it. And then when people do see it, you have to trust that they're going to click the link and go and do the stream. And there's all the steps. It's like the playlist is, they've already heard it. So the idea behind that is they're already hearing your song by stumbling onto it through these playlists. And you just hope that they like it enough that they go to your profile and follow you or listen to your other tracks. So I think it's, and that's why I said too that I'm trying it out on my stuff first, just to not waste the band's money. But I feel like the whole point is you want people to hear your music, and it's the most direct way for people to hear your music. And he was saying that the way they do it is they are partnered with all these curators that curate these playlists, and they pick the ones that, like, he's like, we're not putting your song into random playlists. We're putting it into ones with similar artists, similar styles of music, and playlists that we think that people that are listening to those will like that track. And he said they kind of monitor it as the campaign goes. Like, if there's playlists that aren't doing as well, they'll pull from there and put it into other playlists. And the way he said it, this company seems like they're very interactive. He said that they also monitor all their curators that they work with for any red flags. He's like, if we start noticing that somebody's playlist looks like they're using bots and stuff, and we'll blacklist that playlist and pull your track and put it onto another playlist, because he's like, that's not our goal. He's like, our goal isn't just to get fake numbers. He's like, our goal is to not just get your streams up, but give you like steady monthly listeners. Like, he's like, you want to see that number go up and that number stay consistent, because he's like, working with other companies, you'll notice as soon as the campaign is over, you'll notice all your streams just stop and you don't see them go up anymore, and then your like monthly listener number just disappears. And he's like, that's because it's like, you know, there's no interaction beyond it. It just got played.
Yeah, I mean, but we have healthy amount of monthly listeners already.
No, yeah, the Nearly Dead does
we
fine.
have like 30,000 monthly listeners on Spotify.
For sure, but I mean, more is always better, and that's the point of marketing. And so with these things, like, our fans are already gonna hear it when the new single comes out, hopefully. But this will, like, the point is that just they're trying to strategize the playlist in a way that they're coming across people that are going to go.
52,000 monthly listeners. 52,000 people. Or yeah. And Teresa Jean had 30. That's not bad. I feel
that's not
that's not bad. I was like, shit. That's 30 people who streamed my song at least one time last month.
No, and that, yeah, because my side project, if I'm not doing a campaign or releasing
look at what you had. You had
like
800. Toby had 750.
But
Shit,
that's
because
I just released the new single, and
But the Nearly Deads is like 52,000, and then.
I was telling Javi, it's like, I look at those things, I'm like, why do I do anything that's not the Nearly Dead? It's like, what's even the point?
That's literally how I feel when I put out music. I was like, oh, wah, wah. It's like, no, Nearly Deads. And it instantaneously has like thousands of streams, and, you know, we can get 1 million views. We got something special here, guys.
Like, struggling artists, Nearly Deads.
We're still struggling. We're just 4 struggling separate people that came together.
We're in the struggle together.
We're in the struggle
together. Isn't it so much better
Yeah.
going through the struggle with, you know, company rather than alone?
No single
Very
riders here.
World-renowned historian on YouTube brought up a good point. He says he or she's not a musician, but it seems like talent is only one component of doing it for a living, and frankly not even the most important component.
You're right.
And yeah, it definitely does feel that way nowadays.
Yeah,
it's more
like
about
the
brand,
effort.
it's more about
But it's like your effort, your resilience, your consistency, your ability to not give up, because you don't need to like pay bills. Like I saw this TikTok that was like, there's no, you know, we know there's no such thing as an overnight success and whatever, but the whole self-made musician is kind of a myth too. And they were pointing out, you know, a pretty well-known band and just being like, oh, one of the members of the band was like already from a really wealthy family. So when you take away the part of the equation that, like, if we could just make music full-time 24/7, you know, you can put in that work and you can do what it takes, because it's not saying that people who make it big didn't put in that work or aren't talented or don't rehearse or don't earn their place, but it's just like they have the opportunity to do so because they don't have other factors hindering them, like needing day jobs, can't tour, can't take time off, things like that. So they're able to get to where they want to be much quicker and much easier. And then maybe their family has connections and people that they know in the business that are just like, hey, look, not saying that they're not talented or whatever, but they were like in this incubator for success where everyone else is just like grasping at the leftovers of like, well, you know, I don't know. It was a good TikTok. Like
that's why we all love Eminem.
Dude, seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. But, you know, if Dr. Dre hadn't have plucked him out of nowhere, like that's a 1 in a million opportunity. That's a 1 in a million story. And he was talented and he earned everything. But that's not the norm, you know? That's like the 1 in a million exception.
Yeah.
Right. This you just made me think of. So there's this quote from Rob McElhenney, the guy who created It's
Yeah.
Always Sunny in
Yeah.
Philadelphia, and you know how like in that show he got really overweight, and then he got really ripped and cut, and he made this post about it, and it's so true. It kind of like translates into what we're talking about, you just mentioned, where he says, look, it's not that hard. All you need to do is lift weights 6 days a week, stop drinking alcohol, don't eat anything after 7, don't eat any carbs or sugar at all. In fact, just don't eat anything you like. Get the personal trainer from Magic Mike, sleep 9 hours a night, run 3 miles a day, and have a studio pay for the whole thing over a 6 to 7 month span. I don't know why everyone's not doing this. It's super realistic lifestyle and an appropriate body image to compare oneself to.
Honestly, so
Yeah.
true. It's so true
And-
because we do compare ourselves a lot to musicians when it's like they have that luxury of that's what they do. They can do all day long is sit around and just practice or write music or gain inspiration because they have somebody paying their bills to do so.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
back in the day, they could just sit around and do opium oids and smoke pot and hang out in their mom's basement and
Yeah,
write
I
some
mean, I think that's
records.
why it's a lot easier when you're younger because like when we were younger, we were living with our parents or we were all living in a house together and like 6 people were paying rent. And it's just like easier, but the older that you get, it gets more and more difficult because your obligations change, your family changes. You've got kids to pay for, you've got you know what I mean? Sorry to like break the fourth wall, people, but it's the truth. But we don't think about that because we just see, I'm not working as hard as so and so, or I'm not this. And it's like, well, sometimes you just physically can't. The workout thing is like a perfect example. Yeah, I could work out every single day if I wasn't exhausted every single day from working a day job. But most people, that's not their lifestyle. And we compare ourselves to people where that is their lifestyle, like models and actresses and people who are like,
Paid to look good.
paid to look good. That's what I need.
Yeah.
That's what we
I
need.
mean, I exercise some, but not as much as I should. But I mostly don't exercise more because, well, I don't like it, but also I have a physically taxing job. So when I get home, it's like I've already been up and down a ladder and lifting things that I don't like. The idea of like lifting weights and shit, I'm just like, ugh.
Size up summer 2022. I have these sweatpants on, you guys. This is a size large and they're unisex. So this is literally supposed to fit a large man. And like, are you kidding? Like, I literally, no, I was ordering these. These are from Blackcraft. And it was like, oh, we have a sale on like joggers. And I've always wanted these. They're like Ouija. They're super cute. They got the Ouija board. Anyway, I wanted them forever. And I was like, add to cart. And I was like, my normal self would be like, buy a small. And I was like, you know what? We're going to do a large. And they fit beautifully.
By the way, speaking of your Ouija, when you posted the photo of your and Jordan's wand, I was like, that's so TJ and Jordan to get Voldemort's wand. Those dark sons of bitches.
I know. I was like, we're going to go Vada-Kedavra a bunch of little kids right now to cut them in line.
That's so funny.
To be truthful, though, it was the coolest looking one. You look at the array of wands on whatever. We went to this little kiosk. We didn't go to like the main not Gringotts, but there's the whole experience where you can wait in line and then a wand chooses you and all of that.
Right.
We didn't want to wait in line for that. We literally saw this little like wagon that was selling wands, and I was like, ooh, there's nobody in line for this. I was like, let's go buy a wand here. Like, why do I care about getting it from the place? What's the place called?
Ollivanders or something like that.
Ollivanders.
Ollivanders.
Yeah. The only difference is like you get an Ollivanders bag.
Mm.
And my bag doesn't say Ollivanders on it. I don't even have I would show you guys my wand, but like Jamie took it home for us, so she still has it in her suitcase because we flew Frontier and we didn't get to bring a suitcase.
Yeah, that's why I like the difference, like with the lightsabers. when you go to the build your lightsaber thing, it's like a legit metal
You can like build a
like-
droid too, I think.
lightsaber, yeah, and with the like sturdy plastic blade that lights up and everything. It's super nice quality, which you can only get doing that. All
There,
the
yeah.
shops that they're like cheap plastic lightsabers. So
At the
Yeah,
you can buy them everywhere in the park.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's just the experience.
It's
of,
just the
like-
experience, and I think there's probably a few that you can only get if you go to Ollivanders. I'm not gonna, I wouldn't know, because when we saw the array, they were basically like set up in a little spinner, and Voldemort's just it's the most different one. It's the coolest one, and you're like that. You know that's Voldemort's. You're like, I want that one.
Yeah, because you're dark and your heart is
We're
black.
spooky. We're spooky,
Spooky. You Salem.
and we're also the most powerful, man. Okay.
Dumbledore's the most powerful.
Mm.
Technically,
They're
oh, no,
all
no.
about
Well,
equal.
Harry was the one that could use the wand at the end, though. He's the most powerful. Then he snaps it and throws it away. So.
Dude, how is this not Lord? How is it not Lord of the Rings? It's exactly Lord of the Rings. They even when they have the Horcrux in the final couple movie, I'm like, it's Lord of the Rings. It's the same plot. It's just wizards and their kids. And
Wait, I never got the Lord of the Rings reference. I
no,
always
because
thought
when
it
they
was
were
Star
holding,
Wars
there was
for
like
wizards.
a necklace. There's literally like one of the Horcruxes, and it makes them agitated. It makes them angry when they have it, and they're like, "Oh, I'll take it. Let me wear it, so you don't have to be like the, you know."
I could see that
Oh,
correlation.
that
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
angle.
I was like,
but I think the overall Harry Potter story is very Star Wars. It's good against evil. You
Yeah.
know.
It's
Yeah.
it's like an
Child
amalgamation
father.
of like all of them, but it's set in like the wizarding world. But you can tell that she's watched, or read probably a lot of Tolkien and stuff like that, and was inspired by that. It's not
Oh,
a bad
man, there's-
thing.
I don't think there's a single fantasy out there not inspired by Tolkien somehow.
Yeah.
Like Wheel of Time is.
No,
you can
yeah,
hear the
totally.
influences. It was just so unique, and there's nothing like it.
So if we finally have Soulqueef and Sarah Stag in the chat. As we're
Yeah, showing up
wrapping
late.
things up, which is fine. But I'm like, I feel like we're just starting to see it. Like, we could have a whole stream on just like Harry Potter versus Lord of the Rings. What's it all?
Sarah and Soul Queefs. It's May the 4th. Real quick, your favorite Star Wars movie.
Yes, please. And world-renowned historian as well. We want to know your favorite Star Wars franchise, your favorite Star Wars movie. Is it The Mandalorian? Is it the Clone Wars or the video games? Like, what do we love?
Yeah, Doolin pulled it. Said the video games.
The video
which,
games.
Yeah, a lot of
Mhm.
those, like Knights of the Old Republic, was a really good storyline. Like they've got some unique stories. Some of them that aren't even story intensive. Like I love the Rogue Squadron games on N64 and GameCube.
So, historian, Mandalorian is by far the best Star Wars property, and second place is not close, though it's probably Rogue One.
Dude, right there with you.
Out? Really? We
And
think?
I mean, the original trilogy is
Are
still,
we?
like,
Are we
my
still?
nostalgia.
Does this still trump the original trilogy? Last
No,
Hope?
I don't think they trump
New
the
Hope?
original trilogy. The original trilogy is always gonna
nothing of this would
be
exist
because it created. Yeah, none of it would exist without it. But I do think that Mandalorian and Rogue One are by far better than any of the sequels and any of the prequels.
So, oh, Sarah's not much of a fan of Star Wars. That's okay. We were also talking about Harry Potter. Let's dip our toe in the water here. What do we? Are we Harry Potter? Are we Lord of the Rings? It's okay if you don't like Star Wars. I don't know. I just think okay. English wouldn't exist without Proto-Indo-European also. I mean, you're not wrong. I
We're
think
getting
I
into
think
some deep stuff,
I think
man.
I don't want to misjudge, but I feel like for anyone who, I don't know. I think the ending of Mandalorian for me was like a jaw-dropping, like exciting moment. I was like, "Woo!" And then they're saying here, like, you know, I think, yeah, they're saying older does not equal better. That's the point, and I definitely agree with you. But I think when you, it's hard for us to see it without the veil of nostalgia. We're always going to be more excited about the first thing that we saw. Do you guys agree with that? What do you guys think? Older is not necessarily better.
I totally agree. Especially that's
And
a
Soul
big
Queef, by the
argument
way,
when it
said
comes.
Empire Strikes Back, which was my
Yeah.
first choice.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. No, I think it's kind of like when you talk about music, that often comes into play.
That first
where
record or the first one you heard,
you
nothing
get
can
the
top it.
snobs that are always like, "Oh, your old stuff is better." No, like with music, that's always a big debate. But it's hard to like, like for me, I'm a huge Coheed fan. I think Ascension Dissension are like the best records they've ever put out, like phenomenal front to back. But, it's like, would they have even gotten to that point without the Good Apollo or the Second Turbine, these earlier records that, they may not have even made it to that point, or like so much of the influence of their new records is influenced by some of the older records or something. So yeah, exactly. I think
You know
it's the
who
same
I
with,
think is getting better too with more albums is Kesha.
I have not heard her newer stuff.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's like it's deep. It's so good. So yeah, because at first I was like, I don't think there's any band. If I'm thinking of like rock, usually they don't top each other with the next album. But for some reason with pop music, it's much easier to do so because they're mostly going off of like what's trending at the time. And so like when you're listening to a pop album from 10 years ago, you're like, this is lame. But at the moment, you were like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. But Kesha is definitely getting more deep and profound, like with age. And Historian says Kesha is a literal genius. And honestly, and all the things that she's been through and things like that, like, I don't know. I guess I feel that growth. And then you can admit that, like, okay, this is better. But I see a lot of bands that just don't seem to grow. They seem to churn out the same type of music album after album. And even on my favorite bands,
Yeah.
I drop off because I'm like,
I don't-
well, this sounds like your old album. You're not doing any new themes. Like my queen, Avril Lavigne, right? I absolutely love her. But like the new album she just released, it's all surface level bullshit. There's like no depth to it whatsoever. It's all just a bunch of breakup songs.
Well, yeah, I
To
mean,
me.
I think artists after like 8 and 10 records have a hard time. But for
Yeah.
me, honestly, I have to say with most of my favorite bands, their third and fourth albums are my favorite.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Like,
Yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy and Infinite Sadness was the third record. Muse, we got the Black Holes record was the third. Like, Billy Talent, their Dead Silence album is my favorite of theirs, and that was like their fourth record. Like, Deftones, like White Pony was the third record. Like, I thought Diamond Eyes was phenomenal. That was the fifth record. Like, so I think,
there's hope for us.
yeah, to me, I think a lot of the bands that I like.
So you're saying there's a chance?
He's saying
Yeah.
there's a chance.
I don't
That's
know,
the
I
only
feel
thing
like
that
with-
keeps me going is knowing that like you're right. A lot of my favorite artists, like when you look at it, they released one or two albums before the big breakout album.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
or I just think like the first couple records is kind of like, oh, that's the record that sort of defined their sound, that kind of
Yeah.
got them into the zeitgeist. But then they do that, and then with their like third or fourth album, that's when they're like, okay, let's try something.
You know
different.
why they're able to do that, though? To circle back to our original topic, is because they've made a bunch of money and they don't need to make
Right.
money on their music anymore, and
So
they don't
they do
need
what
to
they
work. So they can do
True.
whatever they want, and they can just like fucking sit in a room and smoke pot and make the best album of all time. So that's when it gets better, because then they're like, well, there's no pressure to like maybe there's no pressure to make money off this record, or and that's when even somebody like Miley Cyrus is like, I don't care if I make any money on this record. Ends up being her biggest record of all time. Same thing with Taylor Swift. I don't need to make any more money. I'm already fucking multi-billionaire. I'm gonna try pop now. And like, now look at her, you know? It's pretty crazy.
Maybe that's a good
When
sign
somebody's
for us,
already
because
talented.
We're not chasing the dream anymore. We're just like, we want to make a record because we want to make it, and we're doing it. So maybe that will work out for us. I don't know.
Hey, whatever. Hopefully
Yeah.
something will work out for us, because I think that we deserve it, and we've been working hard, and I think our music is really good, and I love the new stuff that we're coming out with, and I think a lot of other people will like it.
A little outside our box while at the same time still being catchy and approachable. You know, Wild. That's the one. The Javi song.
That's the one.
That's the one. Right
That's
there.
the one.
There were no edits on it. No edits because it was that good.
We all wrote that song together, sort of. Like, we all
Yeah.
assembled the structure, and
It was basically you and Javi, but
Yeah.
like,
there's no
But we-
drums on the song. So Josh, get out of here.
All right.
oh, we're not adding drums to it at all. We're just gonna make it straight
I
acoustic.
don't know. We're gonna feel it out.
You
It-
did.
it's
You added
definitely-
the violin parts, but like the structure, I remember us fleshing that one out, like all together in the room. And anyway,
Yeah.
and melody, I don't know.
You know what's funny is that was I think my drunk song. was like,
Hey.
It's like fuck it, here you go, guys.
And we listened to it and we're all just like, ooh, we
Oh
have to
my
do a finger
God.
picking like
Yeah, that
acoustic.
finger pick.
So
Yeah.
good.
Brian complimented the shit out of it.
Dude, as long as we are this stoked about every single song, that's all I care about.
You know what? And it's funny too because every time I listen through the demos, a different song gets up there, like Shooting in Crown, and all of a sudden I'm like, suffocating, you know, and I'm like singing the suffocating song, and then there was another day that was I don't want this anymore. Like I had that stuck in my head.
That's Joshy's song.
Yeah.
We're bringing it. We're bringing it to you guys. All right, y'all want to wrap up with some final thoughts? Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys for streaming us, listening to us, following us for all these years. We could not do what we do without you guys. Any other final thoughts, guys?
Star Wars rules. Oh, and speaking of Star Wars, like special edition, like large one, and it's Luke Speeder, and it like went up for pre-order May 1st, and I was like, purchase.
Nice.
Yeah, so I can't wait to build
Very
that.
nice.
It's fun.
All right, y'all. I guess that's it.
Good night.
No,
Zip it
no
up.
other
Zip it up.
final thoughts. Okay. Okay.
Suavios.
Oh, no.
So obvious.
All right, everybody say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.